3 months before the wedding, my fiancé sent his own brother to deal with me, all to appease his mistress. From then on, every time we were supposed to meet, his brother showed up instead. I didn't expose them, still diligently preparing for the wedding. A week before the wedding, Arthur pinned me against the door, trembling with rage. "Grace, why is my brother's name on the wedding invitation as the groom? It's not too late, change it back." I smirked. "That's right, why should I change it? The one I've been sharing a bed with for the past 3 months is your brother, you know." Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and let us know in the comments where you're tuning in from. Wrapping up a business dinner, I sent a text message to my fiancé. "The creek, I've had too much to drink. Come pick me up." The reply came quickly. "Okay, baby, I'll be right there." I turned off my phone screen and leaned back in my chair. My fingertips idly stroked the phone, a faint smile playing on my lips. 10 minutes later, a G-Wagon pulled up to the hotel entrance. I stepped into the passenger seat in my high heels, holding up my skirt. The man handed me a glass of honey water. It was warm. "Drink some first, it'll help with the alcohol. Otherwise, you'll get a headache." I propped my head with one hand, smiling brightly at him, and placed the other on the back of his hand, subtly tracing my fingers down to his. Before taking the honey water, my voice soft. "Thank you, darling. You're so good to me." The man's gaze was deep and dark as he looked at me twice, saying nothing, and silently started the car. I leaned back against the seat, content, admiring the man's high nose bridge and thick eyelashes. Occasionally, car lights would illuminate his face, making his sculpted features even more prominent. Pleasing to the eye, exactly to my liking. I knew this man wasn't my fiancé. He was my fiancé's twin brother. My fiancé's name was Arthur. We were a CT match in looks and background. I'm an aesthetics enthusiast, and Arthur's face was very much to my taste, so we smoothly fell in love, got engaged, and took wedding photos. The wedding was set for 3 months later. I gave Arthur complete trust, not asking about his schedule or checking his phone. Yet, even so, he couldn't escape man's inherent flaws, finding a freshly graduated young woman outside. The girl was fiery and had a temper, threatening to break up at the slightest disagreement. But genuinely loved that type, lowering himself to pamper and coax her. To avoid being discovered by me, he even came up with a brilliant idea. He sent his twin brother to deal with me. When I found out about this, I wasn't really angry. I just found Arthur ridiculously foolish. His brain must have been scooped out when he started cheating. I don't know if others could tell them apart, but to me, they were very easy to distinguish. Arthur was high-profile and impulsive. Ethan was steady and reserved. I found it very amusing and didn't expose them. For the past month, whenever I asked Arthur to meet me, it was Ethan who showed up. They shared the same pleasing face, but in Ethan's eyes, I saw a more complex, or rather, a more intense affection. It was incredibly interesting. Ethan was very good to me, granting my every wish. Even if I had an impulsive urge to go see the sea in the middle of the night, he wouldn't hesitate for a second. It was just that whenever I pretended to call him Arthur, he would lower his eyes slightly, remaining silent. I was certain that this man had been discreetly in love with me for an unknown length of time. Perhaps before, because of my engagement to his brother, he never overstepped. But now, I thought, the groom's name at my wedding could definitely be changed. If something's tainted, you just throw it away. When there's something better, who wouldn't want it? Back home, I kicked off my high heels with 2 swift movements, swaying as I walked. Ethan, keeping a respectful distance, reached out to steady me. I swayed dramatically, let out a soft cry, and accurately stumbled right into his arms. My waist was instantly encircled. I chuckled softly, pressing 2 fingers against his abdomen, imitating a tiny person walking, inching my way up to his chest. His physique felt good. I couldn't resist poking him twice. My fingers were immediately caught. His deep, restrained voice came from above. "Grace, stop fooling around." This was fooling around? I was planning to sleep with you. I wrapped my arms around the back of his neck, pressing my entire body against him, so close that not even wind could pass between us. My gaze swept down from his deep-set eyes, inch by inch, until it landed on his lips. Thin, red. Kissing these lips would surely be even softer, even more thrilling. Ethan turned his head away. "Grace, you've had too much to drink." "No way, I'm perfectly sober." I didn't give the man a chance to speak, stood on tiptoes, and kissed him directly. Ethan's pupils abruptly dilated, and the arm around my waist tightened instantly. "See? Why pretend?" He clearly wanted to kiss me to death. I tugged at his tie, stumbling him backward into the bedroom. With a surge of strength, I pushed him onto the bed. I pressed him down, against him, kissing and biting him wantonly, from his mouth to his neck. The signs of arousal were undeniable. Just as I was about to unbutton his third button, my wrist was suddenly grasped. Ethan pulled back half an inch, his brows furrowed, breathing heavily. Grace, no, I'm not, Ethan. I called out his name directly. Ethan froze, even holding his breath, as if his entire body had turned to ice. TSK, so cute. Much cuter than his brother. I lay on his chest, hooking my toes around his calf, and rubbed my thumb back and forth over his lips. Ethan, if the groom at my wedding was you, would you be willing? He paused for a long time, his voice hoarse. You knew I wasn't Arthur? I chuckled. Then leaned down and pecked him on the corner of his mouth. Yes, I knew from the first glance. I'm asking you a question, are you willing? I'm serious. If he said no, I'd simply make him mine, one way or another. No man Grace has ever set her sights on has gotten away. I waited patiently for a minute. Ethan asked again, you won't regret it? I blinked innocently. No regrets. But you'd better think carefully. If you refuse, won't you regret it? Ethan pressed his lips together tightly. My gaze was still waiting for his reply, but my fingers moved first. As I unbuttoned his fifth button, he powerfully rolled over and pinned me completely in his shadow. His kisses became more fervent, his body burning as if on fire. Tomorrow, we'll go take wedding photos again. Tomorrow? That wasn't possible. Because kept me up until the middle of the night, only letting me go when my voice was hoarse and I couldn't speak. This man, truly, before, he was so proper, always keeping a polite distance even when walking together. But once he got a taste, he turned into an absolute beast, as if he wanted to crush and devour me whole. But I rather liked this wildness, so contrary to his outward appearance. The sweat dripping from his jawline was incredibly sexy, so I enjoyed myself more than ever. The wedding photos were scheduled to be retaken this weekend. While was taking his solo shots, I was playing with his phone and happened to scroll through Arthur's social media posts. He had posted a photo collage full of intimate photos with the young woman. Bungee jumping, paragliding, rafting. The caption read, life should be crazy like this with the one you love. Going to seek thrills with his mistress before the wedding, that's certainly crazy. I crossed my legs and liked his post. Arthur's text message immediately popped up. Bro, how was it? Did I get caught last night? Grace didn't find out, right? Oh, holding a woman in his arms, and he can still think of me? My finger moved slightly as I typed nonchalantly. No. Thanks, bro, I knew you were reliable. I'll be back in 2 months. If Grace looks for me, you'll have to cover for me again. No problem. I smirked. What's 2 months? I'm taking over your wedding entirely. A shadow fell over me. What are you looking at? You're smiling so happily. I looked up and met Ethan's gaze. Nothing, just playing with a dog. I handed Ethan his phone back. He glanced at it, then looked at me meaningfully. I brought my index finger to my lips, making a shushing gesture. Playing along with Arthur's act, it's so much fun. Ethan understood immediately. He raised his eyebrows and leaned down. Then how will you reward me? I smiled radiantly, tilting my head back and rewarding him with a 1-minute kiss. Ethan was highly meticulous about the wedding arrangements. He personally oversaw every detail, with demands that were practically stringent, not letting any potential flaw slip by. With him, I barely had to worry a thing. After we confirmed our relationship, I moved in with Ethan. Might as well enjoy it sooner rather than later. I almost completely cut off contact with Arthur. But every day, I could see his passionate, world-shaking photo collages and declarations of love on Ethan's social media posts. Of course, these were all blocked from my view. That evening, after showering, I dried my hair and put on my camisole, just as Arthur's call came through. But it wasn't for me, it was for his brother. Ethan put it on speakerphone. Bro, everything going smoothly? What's Grace been up to lately? Ethan raised his eyebrows to look at me, his tone teasing. Missing her? Then why don't you call her? Oh, come on, I'm just afraid you'd be right there with her. Wouldn't that expose me? I'm not coming back that soon. I also promised Chloe I'd go to Paris to see an art exhibition. Chloe, the young woman he kept by his side. Going to Paris, quite the romantic. I stood barefoot, swung the leg over her, and sat on Ethan's lap. His eyes deepened. Grace has been quite busy lately, busy with wedding matters. I raised an eyebrow. What nonsense was he talking? Ethan was clearly the one busy with the wedding. I was just busy seducing him. No wonder. With overseeing the wedding progress, I feel relieved. After we get married, I'll make it up to her properly. Before that, bro, please help me out and don't let her find out. I will." Ethan's voice abruptly changed tone. Because, while he was talking, I bit his Adam's apple. "Bro? What are you doing? Who are you with?" Ethan gave me a helpless look. I was giggling, shaking with laughter, on his chest. "Nothing, your sister-in-law just bit me." A gasp sounded from the phone. "Whoa, what kind of woman could catch your eye? You finally came to your senses. When I get back, I definitely have to meet her." Ethan grabbed my wandering fingers. "Talk when you're back." Arthur tried to press for more details, but Ethan casually brushed him off and hung up. He squeezed my waist. "Grace, you're causing trouble again." I smiled, pressing my lips against his. "Don't you like me causing trouble like this?" Look, he was practically vibrating with desire. I playfully blew air on him, my hand pressing against his abdomen. Fire burned in Ethan's eyes. He could no longer resist, suddenly exerting force and pulling me fiercely into his embrace. Everything was proceeding in an orderly fashion. Right after finishing a meeting with my subordinates, a new friend request popped up on my phone. I'd seen the profile picture before, on Arthur's social media posts. Oh, so the young woman finally couldn't hold back and was trying to force a confrontation? I clicked accept with interest. A message came through instantly. "Hello, sister, I have some photos here I'd like to show you." Immediately followed by a flood of photos. Each one was an intimate shot with Arthur. Hugging, kissing, all taken during their travels. "Sister, you probably know what I mean, right? It's more dignified for someone who isn't loved to just step aside." The young woman was still young, with only these few tricks. Playing along with her wasn't a bad idea. I nestled into my office chair and took a sip of the coffee my assistant had just brought. "Photoshopped, right? Arthur and I are together every day, how could he have time to be with you? Trying to sow discord? My dear sister, I don't believe it." The typing indicator showed for quite a while. "Are you so sure the person by your side is Arthur? It's quite laughable for someone who can't even tell her own husband apart, isn't it?" I crossed my legs, unhurried. "Is that so? Well, let me confirm." I turned and dialed Arthur's number. The phone rang for a long time before it was finally answered. "Hello? What's wrong, baby?" "Arthur, where are you right now?" There was a moment of silence on the phone. "I'm at the office," I stated, unhurriedly. "Just now, a woman sent me a bunch of travel photos, every one with you in it, very intimate. Do you want to explain?" A silence fell on the other end. "Sweating bullets now, aren't we?" I tapped the edge of the table with 2 fingers, then changed the subject. "But I think those photos look photoshopped. We see each other every day. How could you have time to be out playing with other women, especially in Paris?" Arthur chuckled awkwardly a few times, replying unnaturally, yes, baby, don't believe it. It must be a scammer. I don't have a clone, how could I be abroad?" Oh, the way he put that, I wonder what Chloe thought hearing it. She was probably fuming right beside him. I swung my chair leisurely. I thought so too. Well, I'll hang up now. Hey, wait. Something else? Baby, that wedding planner we hired before, did you cancel it? I had canceled all the wedding arrangements I'd made with Arthur today. The notification must have gone to his phone. Yes. I didn't like the old one, so I changed to a new one. Why are you so surprised? Weren't you right next to me when I canceled it? He immediately chuckled awkwardly. See, my memory. Work's been so busy, I'm completely muddled. I teased, you even forgot that? You haven't forgotten when the wedding is, have you? How could I? Arthur responded hastily, but then, fearing exposure, he tried to hang up dismissively. Baby, something urgent came up at work, I can't chat right now. Okay. Come home early tonight, I'll make your favorite fish soup in high spirits. I hung up first and hummed a tune. Playing with a dog really felt good. That evening, it was naturally Ethan who came home early. As I placed the fish soup on the dining table, he embraced me from behind, holding me tightly. What's wrong? You're going to strangle me. Ethan loosened his grip slightly and rested his head on my shoulder. You called Arthur today. And then? I'm jealous. I'm not happy. Oh dear, Ethan was pouting. Who could resist that? I absolutely loved it. I turned in his arms and wrapped my arms around his waist. His mistress texted me today, so I called Arthur to mess with him. His reaction was enough to keep me entertained for days. What, you're jealous about something like that too? Are you the jealous type? Ethan's eyes sparkling like tiny diamonds under the light. I stood on tiptoes and bit him. Is this compensation enough? Husband? Ethan's hands tightened instantly. Then I was pinned against the edge of the table and kissed for 2 minutes. When our breathing was ragged, Ethan leaned into my ear and whispered, "Arthur's coming back next week." So soon? The wedding was still a month away. Chloe wasn't doing well, then. I narrowed my eyes and scratched Ethan's jawline. "And after he comes back, what do you plan to do?" Ethan bit my ear and murmured softly, "Make him dutifully attend his brother's wedding." Arthur didn't succeed in coming back. According to what he told Ethan, Chloe had suddenly fallen ill, and her condition was urgent, requiring treatment locally. Chloe's mood wasn't good either. She was extremely insecure and needed his companionship. He couldn't bear to leave her, so he could only ask Ethan to cover for him for another month. Sure enough, a woman who could hold Arthur for so long wouldn't just know how to provoke the official one. Though I wasn't exactly the official one myself. Ethan embraced me. "Grace, when do you plan to tell Arthur?" I played with his fingers. "Why tell him? Wouldn't it be better if he found out himself?" I was truly curious what expression Arthur would have when he returned and discovered everything. It would certainly be interesting. Ethan also curved a faint smile, curling his index finger and gently brushing my nose. "Naughty. I have even naughtier things in mind. Do you like that?" I stared at him intently, took his fingertip, and provocatively nibbled it at my lips. Afterward, as Ethan was holding me, getting ready for bed, his phone chimed with a message notification. I opened it to find a voice recording from Chloe. She was reasserting her claim again. I tapped to play it. At the very beginning of the audio were 2 heavy breaths. Arthur was full of dirty talk, constantly asking Chloe if she was enjoying herself, and if she was, to call him husband. Chloe was very cooperative, her sweet and syrupy voice sounding as if it could drip water. I uttered a disgusted ugh and playfully complained to Ethan. "Husband, my ears are hurt." Ethan cupped my ears with his hands. "Don't listen. It's foul." I giggled. "No way, there might be something even more exciting." I fast-forwarded the audio to the latter half, where a conversation finally began. "Arthur, how do I compare to Grace?" "Baby, why compare yourself to her? I just want to know. Tell me." All right, I'll tell you. Don't twist me, my little darling. If you hurt me, how will I make you comfortable? You're younger, prettier, better at coaxing. Just seeing you makes me unable to move. I want to throw you onto the bed every day, okay? Then do you love me?" "Of course I love you. I love you to death. I'll only love you this lifetime." "Then can you marry me instead of Grace?" Arthur fell silent. I also wanted to know how he would answer. After all, he was the one who had shamelessly pursued me, promising to put me on a pedestal and spoil me rotten. Chloe urged him several times before Arthur chuckled dully and spoke. "Baby, Grace and I are an arranged marriage. It's what our elders want. I can't go against it. But even if I marry her, you'll still be the one I love most. I'll buy you a house, and you can live there. I'll come to spend time with you whenever I can, just like now. As soon as there's a chance, I'll definitely divorce Grace and marry my dearest darling." The audio ended there. I burst out laughing. Whether didn't want to go against the engagement or didn't dare to was hard to say. He had been happier than anyone when we got engaged. I turned around, rubbing my nose against Ethan's, and accused him. "Did you hear that? If he kept up this act after the wedding, I really would have married that scumbag. Could you have stood by and watched?" I poked his chest with my finger. "Ethan, you really had a lot of restraint before. Since you liked me so much, how could you just stand by and watch me marry your brother?" Ethan looked at me intently for over 10 seconds, then scooped me up with both hands, pulling me into his embrace. "I thought you liked him." I rolled my eyes. "I liked his face. You look just like him, so I like you too." He rubbed my lower back. "Just my face?" His hands started to become restless again. Not wanting to lose my voice again, I quickly kissed him several times, guiding his hands back to my lower back properly. Well, I naturally like everything about you." Days passed quickly. The closer it got to the wedding, the more frequently Chloe shared their daily dating life with Arthur, photos, video clips, videos. She was practically live-streaming their activities. Recently, she'd also been sending messages non-stop. "Sister, Arthur said I'm his true love. What's the point of a loveless marriage? You don't want to live with a man whose heart isn't with you, do you?" I treated her like a monkey show, occasionally watching her performance when I was in a good mood. And without saying anything, I'd just reply, "Sister, what does that mean? What does it mean?" Guess. A week before the wedding, Arthur posted on his social media. "Even the most beautiful days come to an end. Time to go back and embrace a new life, but some unforgettable love and memories won't fade with time. I actually agreed with that sentence. Perhaps the scene of me marrying his brother would also become an unforgettable memory for him. That evening, there was a dinner event with a business partner. I dressed up, wearing a gown and high heels, making a grand entrance. Such occasions were old hat to me, effortless. When it ended, a man leaned against a Rolls-Royce, directly facing the venue's main entrance. I stopped, leisurely sizing him up. 3 months without seeing him, he was a bit darker and had put on some weight. He'd gotten uglier. Truly inferior to his brother in every way. Perhaps it had been too long since he'd seen me, and seeing me dressed up, Arthur's eyes held an unconcealable astonishment. He pushed back his suit jacket with one hand, walked toward me with a confident stride, intending to hug me. Grace. I subtly sidestepped, gracefully avoiding him. I narrowed my eyes and looked at him. Arthur stopped, a little confused. What's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that? I put on a faint smile. Nothing, I just suddenly feel like you've changed a lot. Arthur's body instantly stiffened. It's like, after one day apart, you went to Africa and came back having eaten an elephant. Look, your belt must be tight, your stomach is quite noticeably protruding. Arthur awkwardly glanced down at himself, smiling in extreme embarrassment. Is that so? Maybe I've gained some weight recently, and you just haven't noticed. I smiled sweetly, not taking the bait. Arthur changed the subject. All right, let's not talk about that. Grace, you look beautiful today. I'm here to take you home. He tried to take my hand, but I immediately stepped back. No need. Why? Someone else is picking me up. Arthur frowned, about to ask further, when his phone suddenly rang. My gaze pointed to his suit pocket. Aren't you going to answer? Looks like an emergency. Arthur hesitated for a moment, then answered the call. I stood with my arms crossed, watching his expression slowly shift from faint ease to anxiety. How about now? Does your leg still hurt? How could you be so careless? Don't cry, I'll be right there. 10 minutes, tops. He hung up, turning to me with an apologetic look. Grace, I'm sorry, a friend accidentally hurt her leg and called me for help. I nodded understandingly. It's fine, go ahead. It had nothing to do with me anyway. Arthur relaxed his shoulders, smiling knowingly. Grace, marrying you is my luck. You go home first, I'll come find you after I'm done. He hurried to leave, and I raised my hand, wiggling my fingers slightly. Bye-bye next time we meet, I hope you can still smile. 15 minutes later, sitting in Ethan's passenger seat, I scrolled through Chloe's social media posts. Arthur was holding her hand tightly, pulling her into his embrace, cooperating with the doctor's examination. What are you smiling about? I looked up, glancing at the man driving, feeling in high spirits. Nothing, just watching a monkey. Ethan, have we sent out most of the invitations? At a red light, Ethan stopped the car, took my hand, and gently kneaded my palm. Yes, all sent out. Except for Arthur. The light turned green, and the car started moving. I opened the passenger mirror, quite satisfied with my makeup. Then let's send his tonight. After all, we need to make sure he doesn't show up in the wrong wedding attire. As expected, my phone was ringing off the hook. For 10 minutes, my phone hadn't stopped ringing. But I was busy kissing Ethan and really had no time to deal with the constantly ringing phone, letting it go wild. An hour later, Ethan helped me shower and carried me out of the bathroom. Grace, rest a bit. Something came up with the company. I'm going to the study for a meeting. I hooked my arms around his neck and kissed him. Go ahead. After left the room, I massaged my aching lower back and went to the living room to retrieve my long-neglected phone. 99 plus missed calls. 99 plus messages from Arthur. Tapping into the messages, they were all his voice notes, often a minute long, and a huge stack of photos. Names on the invitation, wedding photos, the wedding venue being arranged, etc. It was as if after receiving the wedding invitation, he finally went to verify thoroughly who I was actually marrying. After learning the truth, he completely broke down. I randomly listened to a few short voice notes. Grace, this isn't real, is it? This is just a joke you're playing on me, isn't it? This isn't funny. I'm coming to find you now. Why aren't you home? Did you move? Grace, answer me. Of course, you wouldn't find me at my place. Because I was at his brother's place now. The other voice notes were too long. I really couldn't be bothered to listen. I ignored all his messages and simply replied, see you in a week at my wedding. He didn't reply again. Just as I was about to go to bed, the door was pounded furiously. Oh, he found me. I lazily got up, draped my silk robe over myself, and calmly opened the door after a bout of knocking that sounded like someone hammering the wall. Whether from exhaustion or anger, Arthur's chest was heaving violently, his lips pressed tightly together, and his entire eye sockets were abnormally bloodshot. He looked like he was grieving a great loss. I teased, "Done with your emergency? Sent your friend to the hospital?" Arthur stepped forward, grabbing my shoulders and pinning me against the door, his voice incredibly hoarse. "Grace, why is my brother's name on the wedding invitation as the groom? It's not too late, change it back." I smirked. "That's right, why should I change it? The one I've been sharing a bed with for the past 3 months is your brother, you know." Arthur's face visibly stiffened, and he even momentarily forgot to breathe. I brushed off his hand from my shoulder, pulled up the robe hanging from my elbow, and glanced at him. "Why so surprised? Didn't you always know it was your brother beside me?" Arthur's pupils trembled, and his knuckles cracked. "You knew all along?" "Yes." I tossed the curly hair from my chest behind my back. "It's hard not to know, isn't it? After all, compared to your brother, the difference is just too great." Arthur's gaze flickered, then settled on a spot on my side neck. He suddenly became agitated, grabbing my wrist forcefully. "You and my brother, you slept together?" "Well, obviously." I rolled my eyes. "Yes, we did. Otherwise, what did you think we were doing before you arrived?" Arthur's breathing grew more rapid, and the grip on my wrist tightened. He gritted his teeth, his face almost distorted. "Grace, I was with you for 2 years, and you never let me touch a single finger. My brother only pretended to be me for 3 months. Why would you give yourself to him? Why?" I repeated his question, then laughed out loud. "Because I felt like it." My nonchalant attitude completely enraged Arthur. He, red-eyed, tried to grab at me, but the next moment, his grip on my hand suddenly loosened, and he stumbled backward several steps. Ethan stood in front of me, his face grim toward his brother, his voice cold as ice. "What do you think you're doing?" Arthur clung to the doorframe to steady himself, his anger finally uncontrollable as he roared hoarsely. "Ethan, Grace is my girlfriend. Stealing a woman from your own brother, have you no shame?" Ethan completely ignored his brother's outburst, turning to check me over, then softly asked, "Are you okay?" I shook my head and, right in front of Arthur, slipped into Ethan's arms and wrapped my arms around his waist. Arthur's face turned even greener. "Correction, I'm not your girlfriend now, I'm your ex-girlfriend. Your woman is still at the hospital, isn't she? In a week, after the wedding, you'll have to respectfully call me sister-in-law, understand? Oh, and by the way, on the wedding day, remember not to wear the wrong wedding attire. After all, it's your brother I'm marrying." Arthur glared at me furiously, saying nothing. The atmosphere was tense for a moment. As he was about to say something else, Ethan made a sweeping gesture with his hand and mercilessly shut Arthur out of the door. The door was still being pounded, but no one inside paid attention. Ethan scooped me up by the back of my knees and carried me toward the bedroom. He pressed down on me, his nose nuzzling my ear. "So brave? You dared to open the door by yourself when I wasn't out here yet." It tickled too much. I pulled my neck back. "What's there to be afraid of? He couldn't eat me, could he? Besides, with you here, I'm not afraid of anything." I cupped Ethan's chin and tilted my head to kiss him. Our lips and tongues intertwined, skin pressing against skin. As our kiss grew passionate, the pounding on the door outside finally stopped. When I woke up the next day, it was already close to noon. Ethan had already left for the company. I gave myself a few good days off, to rest and prepare for the wedding. As I was about to go for a walk, I opened the door, and a figure drifted out beside me like a ghost. I frowned. "Why are you still here?" He was wearing the same clothes as last night, with dark circles under his eyes and stubble on his chin. It seemed he had been waiting all night. When left that morning, Arthur had even deliberately avoided his brother. Arthur no longer had his aggressive demeanor from last night. He looked completely despondent. "Grace, I'm sorry, I was a bit too agitated last night. Can I talk to you properly?" Every word he spoke conveyed extreme caution. I leaned against the doorframe. "Say whatever you have to say right here. I'm not inviting you in." Arthur pressed his lips together, then haphazardly rubbed his face. "I thought about a lot last night, but what I thought about most were the happy days we shared before. Do you remember? A year ago, I took you to the top of Whisperwind in the middle of the night to watch the sunrise. The moment the sun appeared, your smile, I still remember it clearly. Grace, I know it was wrong of me to have my brother pretend to be me, but I truly love you. I'll cut things off with Chloe immediately. You can hit me, scold me, punish me however you want, but please, can you forgive me this time? After we're married, I promise I'll be twice as good to you." I thought he'd have some profound self-reflection, but it turns out he was still holding on to that unwarranted confidence. I let out an exaggerated laugh. Love me? Are you sure? He stepped forward, his voice incredibly firm. You are the woman Arthur loves most in this lifetime. I suppressed my laughter, tapped into my chat history with Chloe, and played the audio clip. Every word he had said to Chloe echoed clearly in the doorway. Arthur's face stiffened completely. After the audio finished playing, he looked at me in disbelief. Grace, how do you have this? That would naturally be from your dearest darling, the one you love most. Oh, and she shared so many other things with me too, even intimate photos of you two in bed. Care to take a look? Arthur probably never imagined that Chloe would send me everything about their illicit affair, all just to force me to break off the engagement. To put it nicely, these things were a testament to their love. To put it bluntly, they were the dirt I had on Arthur. When these things became public, Arthur's expression was surely priceless. Of course, his expression right now was just as priceless. A look of disbelief and utter helplessness. It was incredibly satisfying. Anyone who tries to play me deserves to be played. I lowered my voice. Arthur, I'm going to tell you one last time, if you dare to bother me again, everything Chloe sent me will be distributed to your family, your friends, and everyone at Hayes, top to bottom. You know my personality, I always follow through, you know. Now, get lost. Arthur swayed slightly, then fell silent for a minute. Just as I impatiently prepared to send him away again, he said, Grace, I'll sort all of this out. I let out a loud scoff, cursing him as an idiot. Arthur turned around and walked away, utterly dejected. I thought Arthur had given up. But I underestimated his audacity. When he realized he couldn't sway me, he went directly to my mother, kneeling on the ground. First, he tearfully confessed his mistakes and swore he'd never repeat them. Then, he begged my mother to convince me, asking her to plead for one more chance for him. My father passed away early, and my mother built our family business from the ground up. My mother is also quite easygoing, saying that when it comes to matters like this, whatever my daughter wants, that's what we'll do. Her exact words were, as long as my daughter agrees, I could pick 18 men for her to choose from, and when she gets bored, she could pick another. When we agreed to this engagement with Hayes, it was only because Grace accepted your proposal. What nerve do you have, after running wild for so long, to still think you can come back and marry my daughter? Arthur was speechless. Seeing that he couldn't get anywhere with my mother, he went home to beg his own parents. The family's strained family ties meant that even among close relatives, interests came first. Ethan must have offered the family a significant financial guarantee, otherwise, no one would have informed Arthur about the change in plans for so long. However, my marriage to Ethan would bring no harm to Hayes. The and Hayes families would still maintain a strong in-law relationship. So, when Arthur knelt before his parents, begging them not to let Ethan marry me, Mr. Robert and Mrs. Clara simply finished their tea, told him to get some rest, and didn't utter another word about anything else. Arthur, refusing to accept defeat, finally went directly to Ethan. But he couldn't even get a meeting. After all, the CEO's schedule requires an appointment, and even his own brother is no exception. The night before the wedding, Ethan swayed me back and forth in his arms. Grace, Arthur came looking for me again today. He had the receptionist tell me he'd never give up on you, and that he'd crash the wedding tomorrow. A lot of people at the company are saying he's deeply devoted to you. I turned, cupped Ethan's chin. If he really crashes the wedding, what will you do? His eyes full of laughter, he pecked my lips. He won't get the chance. Get some sleep. We have an early start tomorrow. I can't wait to see the most beautiful bride in the world. On the wedding day, I was getting my makeup done in the dressing room. Just as I expected, Arthur came to find me. But he couldn't get close to me. Ethan had specifically arranged for 2 formidable female bodyguards to protect me, and several strong, imposing male bodyguards to shadow him constantly. Arthur couldn't even get close to the dressing room door. He could only stand at the entrance, calling my name repeatedly. Annoying. Once my makeup was nearly finished, I lifted my skirt and walked to a spot about a meter away from him. Why are you making so much noise? When saw me in my wedding dress, his eyes trembled. Then, with a thud, he knelt down right in front of me. Grace, I broke and up completely with Chloe. I truly know I was wrong, and I will sincerely remorse. We talked for 2 years, we have so many beautiful memories. I don't believe you could move on and fall in love with my brother in just 3 months. I know you must still have feelings for me. If I crash the wedding today, will you come with me? His words sounded genuinely sincere, but everyone present, even the bodyguards, almost couldn't hold back their laughter. I slowly glanced at him, not even bothering to speak, and turned to sit back in my chair. Get him out of here. The bodyguard sprang into action. Arthur struggled violently, his face red and furious. I'd like to see who the hell dares to touch me. But before he could break free, a sharp female voice came from around the corner. Arthur. Well, Chloe's here. Perfect timing. It looks like we're in for a real dog-eat-dog spectacle. Chloe's mental state was clearly not good. Her hair was disheveled, and she looked completely unhinged. She immediately launched into a furious tirade at Arthur, accusing him of being heartless, disloyal, and deserving of a terrible end. Arthur stood up, annoyed. Are you done making a scene? I've already made it perfectly clear to you. I was just playing around before. The one I truly love is Grace. Get lost, and don't ever appear in front of me again. Chloe laughed, fueled by anger, two clear tears running down her face. Arthur, look at you. You're acting like a desperate puppy now. What makes you think Grace is any better? She knew about us all along, but she just didn't call you out. She was playing us like fools, treating you like a joke every single day. And now you're kneeling, begging her to take you back? What about your dignity? Did the dogs eat it? Arthur ignored her completely. If only Grace forgives me, I'll abandon all dignity and pride. But you explicitly said I was the one you loved most. Chloe screamed, utterly broken. The female bodyguard. Dee beside me couldn't help but interject. Men's sweet talk. You should know better than to believe it. You really fell for that? Spot on. I couldn't help but clap for the bodyguard. Arthur frantically turned to me. Grace, what I told you today is true. You're the one I love most. I wasn't lying. Arthur. You bastard. Chloe completely snapped. She pulled out a folded white paper from her bag, threw it at Arthur, and cried out. Look at this. Arthur didn't even spare her a glance. He picked up the white paper. No matter what it is, it won't change my feelings for Grace. His words stopped dead. He froze in place. The male bodyguard who had been blocking him earlier glanced over, his mouth forming an O shape. Wow, looks like someone's having a baby. Oh, Chloe's pregnant. Arthur was trembling all over. The test results fluttered from his trembling hand and fell to his feet. His first instinct wasn't to look at pregnant Chloe, but at me. Grace. You're having a child, and you're still talking about crashing the wedding? Arthur's breathing quickened. He furrowed his brow and gritted his teeth. I won't let this child get in our way. I'll make her have an abortion. The moment he said that, Chloe lunged at him like a madwoman. Arthur, are you even human? This is our child, a living, breathing life. You're actually going to make her have an abortion? You animal. Chloe hit and cursed Arthur, tugging at his clothes and pulling his hair. Her hair disheveled, she transformed from a youthful girl into a complete shrew. Arthur, annoyed, forcefully pushed her away. Are you done making a scene? He didn't hold back at all in that push. Chloe was sent stumbling back several steps, lost her balance, and fell heavily to the ground. Her face turned deathly pale, and large beads of sweat instantly appeared on her forehead. Arthur, our baby. Soon, Chloe's white dress was stained red with gushing blood. The blood flowed more and more, even overflowing onto the floor. She clutched her stomach, screaming in agony. Arthur was clearly paralyzed with fear, standing rooted to the spot. I kindly offered a reminder. Why are you just standing there? Aren't you going to take your little mistress to the hospital? You'd better think carefully. If something really happens to Chloe, that's 2 lives lost, and you'll be facing attempted murder charges. There's a room full of witnesses here. Think about whether you want to spend the rest of your life in jail. Arthur was jolted awake by my words. He looked at me with a grim expression for a moment. After several moments of hesitation, he finally clenched his fists and ran over to pick up Chloe. Before leaving, he didn't forget to throw out his bold declaration. Grace, wait for me. Now I seriously wonder if Ethan sucked all the nutrients dry when they were in the womb. Otherwise, how could Arthur be such an idiot now? It was quite an eye-opener. Arthur's outburst didn't actually last very long. All told, it was only about 10 minutes. So this minor incident didn't affect my wedding ceremony at all. Ethan had pulled out all the stops for this wedding. Everything used was of the highest caliber in Sterling City. He wanted to proclaim to the entire world that his wife, Grace, deserved everything perfect in the world. And I truly did. The gilded door slowly opened. Under everyone's gaze, I walked to the music, amidst everyone's applause, step by step, towards the impeccably suited man on the stage, whose eyes were filled only with me. The depth of affection in his eyes was just as it had been when we first met 3 months ago, now with an added weight of profoundness. My guiding principle has always been, it doesn't matter what a man possesses. If I'm going to choose, I'll choose the one I'm most satisfied with. I think I made the right choice with Ethan. Amidst thunderous applause, we exchanged our vows and shared a passionate kiss. Ethan cupped my cheek, his eyes shining with extraordinary brightness. It was hard to tell if it was the reflection of the lights or tears of pure joy. His voice was slightly hoarse. "Grace, you're finally marrying me. I've finally waited for this day." I gave him a playful wink. "Don't get too happy too soon. If you pull any stunts, I'd dump you without a second thought." "That will never happen," Ethan said, each word steady and resolute. In an unnoticed corner, 2 bodyguards restrained Arthur, who had just stormed in. One covered his mouth to prevent him from shouting. The other pinned him against the wall, preventing him from moving an inch. His eyes wide, he watched helplessly as Ethan and I embraced. The ceremony concluded. His face shifted from frantic to defeated, until he slowly slid down the wall, utterly heartbroken, slumping to the floor. As I glanced at him, I mouthed silently, "Idiot." Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share your perspectives, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.